On today's podcast,
it's not a purchase, it's an investment. You're investing in your future. You're investing in the time that you get to spend with your family. You can't get back time.
the truth is, adding value will never go out of style.
This podcast is brought to you by iWatch Security. iWatch Security. Get the savings and service that you deserve.
Hello, and thanks for joining us for another Five Things podcast. I've got a great friend and networking partner here, a very successful business owner, Terri Kissiah, like Messiah. That's the way to remember the last name that's pronounced. Thanks for joining us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm delighted to be here.
Absolutely. And I know you got a lot to share, and I'm excited to get to that. But just to give you a little bit of background, Terri owns not just a moving service, but a very unique business model, which I think is really awesome. And to be very honest about it, the first time I've ever heard of this type of thing. So we've got some B-roll that'll roll when you're talking about it. But tell us about Need NC.
Well, Need NC is a concierge relocation company. So what our model is and what we do for our clients is we take the stress away from moving. Moving is one of the most stressful things a family can go through.
Definitely.
And what we do is we alleviate all of that. We take care of every detail you can imagine for a move. We unpack, we organize, we style them. It's a one-day move-in, and it's pretty amazing to be able to do for our clients.
So you have like a whole team of people that'll come in.
We do.
Yeah.
We have an incredible team of relocation specialists that come in. We're anywhere from 15 to 27 strong. And we come in and we organize every single space in your home. We, we shop with you. We do all the procurement. We have team members that work with you to make sure everything is covered. Every aspect of your move is covered by us.
So my understanding is like someone could literally book a day at the spa while the move is happening.
They did. We've had clients who have had spa days, they've gone golfing, they've had parties, they've had dinner parties that night. It really is about taking this move, this next stage of their lives, and making it a celebration. That's kind of what I envisioned when I first started the business 2 years ago.
That's awesome. That's definitely sounds better than any move I've ever had.
Oh, absolutely. Every move I've ever had, too, has been nightmarish.
Moving is up there with taxes and dentists for me. You know, it's just not a great experience.
It's not.
Even with a great dentist and a great CPA. Which I both.
There are so many
have.
aspects of the move that people are stressed about. You're already stressed because you've been in competition to make a bid on a house with 100 other people. You're stressed because you're starting a new job. Your kids are starting new schools. So Need NC can take that stress away and make it so that you can enjoy all the things in your life that you need to enjoy and get ready for.
Okay, and we're definitely going to dive into that a little bit. But before we get to that, I'd love to hear a little bit about you personally. Not only a woman-owned business, but something that you and I spoke about before we had the podcast that's really intriguing to me is you're basically stay-at-home mom and raised the family, and that was the priority, and you're basically starting this from scratch in your 40s. You're writing a brand new chapter in your 40s, and I think a lot of people would love to hear a little bit about that. What kind of got you inspired to do that?
Well, it's so exciting to be able to do something completely different than what I was doing before. I was a stay-at-home mom for 10 years, but prior to that, I was a project manager for an IT firm for 15 years. And that was a stressful career. I did it and enjoyed it and learned a lot. And then I stayed home. And after I hit the 10-year mark, I knew that I wanted to do something different. I wanted to help people. I loved raising my kids. It was an amazing opportunity for me. And anybody who says staying home with their children is not the hardest job has not done it right. It's a lot. And I just knew I wanted something different. And so my husband sent me to a business boutique conference in Nashville. And to prepare for that, I had to come up with a business plan. And so I was out with friends one night, and we were discussing the various talents that I have, things that I've done in the past. And professional organizing came up as, something I've really enjoyed. I love organizing. I love getting, those areas set up right. And so I started that. I started a professional organizing business, just me, because I wanted the flexibility and be able to set my own schedule and work around my children's schedules. And it grew very rapidly. One client turned into 5, turned into 10. So I took on a team, a small team to begin with. And we had an opportunity to work with a couple in Charlotte. We got a call one day, and this woman had moved down with her husband from New Jersey. They were an older couple. They had no family, no friends, nobody that they knew in Charlotte. So I put a team together overnight. And we went out the very next day at 6 a.m. We left the Raleigh area. And I put that team together. I had gone shopping for toolkits and various things to prepare. And we got out there and worked a 15-hour day with this couple. And we organized, unpacked. We went to donation. We shopped. We took things to recycling. At the end of the day, we were standing in the driveway with this woman and her husband, and she hugged me and started to cry. And she said that she would have never been able to do it without us. So on the drive home, I pivoted and I came up with Relocation Reimagined.
That's awesome. And it's such a great concept to where, I mean, it just takes the heavy lifting out of the, literally, not only the move, but the packing, the unpacking, the organized. And
Oh, it really does.
it sounds to me like some of your clients are more organized after the move than they even were organized prior to the move.
Absolutely. We like to say it's not just like we were talking about earlier. It's not an investment, or rather it is an investment. It's not a purchase. It's a lifestyle change. So it's something that keeps on giving even after the move in. When you're organized and your space is organized, your children are organized, there's a sense of calm in your household. And so it goes, it's the 5 minutes the next day that you save not looking for water bottles and lunch boxes. It's the 10 minutes that you know where your gym clothes are.
Right.
And you get to the gym because you're motivated to do so. It's all the things that we can do for our clients that we really love and enjoy doing.
So at that point, you decide to pivot and you kind of get the epiphany like, wait a minute,
This is more.
This is more.
Yes.
We really made a difference in these people's lives.
Yeah. So we started doing whole house move-ins. And then I built a team up, and we are constantly evolving, like you do with your business, Brian.
Yeah.
It's a constant looking at what you've done and how you can make it better. So every project that we work in, every project and client that we work with, we go back and say, what went well, what didn't go well, the lessons learned, and we modify.
Totally. And this is actually a 20-minute conversation we had yesterday or the day before, something like that. And it's I've been doing security for 25 years. iWatch Security is 13 years old. And we're literally having meetings this week about how we're improving things and how we're going to alter things. And the one thing I would tell you if you're a sales professional or especially a business owner is you have to be self-aware. You have to have self-awareness. What are we good
Absolutely.
at? What are we great at? What do we suck at?
What do we suck at? Absolutely.
And
Yep.
here's the thing that what do we consistently hear? I learned this a long time ago in sales, is if I go in and do a sales presentation and I'm hearing about the same objection over and over, that means you're doing the wrong presentation. So if you hear the same objection of, I can't afford it, well, you're doing the wrong presentation. You need to...
You got to set the value.
You got to create in the presentation. You can't afford not to do this. You got to talk about how affordable it is. You have to give some comparisons. What are you paying for cable versus security? What are you paying? What's the least expensive bill in your house? Your security monitoring.
It's a cost-benefit analysis. You have to do that at every step of the way.
Right. So the principle is this, is that if you're having an experience with your customers, every customer says X, you need to alter your delivery to cover X. So, and
Absolutely.
I'll give you an example for us. One of the things, and you'll probably have plenty of examples to share as well. One of the things we would hear is people would have all these issues with their Wi-Fi networks when it comes to Wi-Fi cameras. Like we didn't deal with your network. It's not our problem. That your router is not capable, that you keep adding things to your router and now your camera, quote, doesn't work as well. It's really a network issue. But we would start hearing this over and over again, and we're doing free service calls for these clients just to help them deal with their network because it's impacting our equipment. Well, as a business owner, I have to do better to communicate these things on the front end.
Setting expectations.
Setting the expectation. Yes. Just an example. We'll have a sales rep say X. It's on the quote at the bottom. We have our technician go out. The technician says something. It's on our paperwork. Now we have a follow-up video that's being delivered. 5 times I've tried to communicate to you about something as a business owner. So if you still have this issue as a business owner, I feel confident saying, like, I can't do anything else to communicate this better. There's so many things we have to communicate to you. I went out of my way to make sure we're over communicating this point because it was such a prevalent,
and that's something we learn all the time.
Totally.
Every day we come in, as business owners, we do understand that it's constantly pivoting. It's constantly learning and adjusting and modifying everything that we do. I mean, paperwork down to how we engage with our clients, to how we take care of our team, the perks and things that we offer our team members, that sort of thing. It's a constant. So, but it's challenging and it's exciting.
It is, and you just have to be open-minded. And I'm sure I know you do have the same type of, in the military, we would have a military operation and they would say it's called an after-action review. You assess what happened and how could you improve, what tactics worked, what didn't work, where'd the communication break down, just those type of things.
Absolutely.
That you learn in the military, but I think you learn this as a business owner as well.
Oh, you do. It's one of those things you're thrown in and you've got to figure out how to make it work.
Right.
You can take different pieces from businesses, but when you're creating something new, we're sort of a unicorn in the industry. There's nothing out there that we can mimic.
Right.
There are certain services that are available, but they don't actually follow what we do, and they don't have all of the different, details and logistics that we have to handle. So we're one of the largest teams to go into a client's home at any time. When you think about, painters or cleaning services, they usually have 4, maybe 6 at most. But we have, upwards of 15 to, like I said, 27. I think our top was 27 that we did on
That's
site.
a lot of people rolling in.
That's a lot of people that you've got to organize. You've
Right.
got to coordinate and set the expectations, not only for the clients, but for the team members as well. So,
Well, let me ask you this. So you've been in business a couple of years now, right? 2 years? 2 years.
2 years in October.
What is something you've learned that you kind of surprised you as being a business owner in the last couple of years?
I think what I've learned is that it is a constant. It is a 24-hour job. I don't get to, sign off, go home, and really just relax. It's something that takes up my every waking moment, because I'm always thinking about how can we take care of the clients better? What can we offer them? How can we address some of their stressors and concerns? So I'm looking at, that customization for every single client. And then also taking care of the team.
Right.
When you've got a team working as hard as my team works, we want to make sure they're taken care of as well. So, we've got a lot of things that we do for our team members to make sure they're taken care of. But that's the surprising thing, is really that it's all encompassing.
And another thing on that note is, like, when you start a business, being a business owner, the best way I can view being a business owner, the best thing I could say is you're like you're leading an orchestra. You're the
conductor.
You're the conductor. That's the word I'm looking for.
Absolutely.
It's if the tuba player gets out of line, it messes everything up. And as a business owner, you're trying to take care of your employees the best you can. Which, if I did guess, every single one of your employees wants more money.
Oh, well,
right?
Yeah. I want to give them more money.
Well, and you want to give it to them.
Yeah, sure.
But you got to keep it in balance, because otherwise the tuba player's making too much noise.
Absolutely.
And every customer wants to pay less, but you've got to balance that. And then you got, what is competition doing? And then you got your P&L. And then you got your personal quality of life. As a business owner, you're balancing all these different things, and you're
juggling so many balls.
You're juggling
There's everything.
Yeah. And here's the thing: is like if you're not a good conductor and you pay employees too much, the business fails. Now they're looking for jobs. Or if you're not competitive in the marketplace, you've got no business coming in, and then the business fails.
Your cash flow suffers and you struggle to make ends meet.
Yeah.
It is a balance.
Right.
And learning how to, modify, again, if you need to look at the cost of what your service is and the value that it adds to your client, that's something, that we do constantly. And the different things that we offer our clients as well. It's not just our services, it's everything we do in addition, the haul away and the handyman and, all these different aspects that we coordinate for our clients as well. But I wear a lot of hats.
Sure.
I wear a lot.
Well, you have to.
Of hats. Yeah, I really do. But it's a joy.
Well, and it'll be easy for people to, when you're 10 years in and there's multiple locations, which we'll get into that, and all these kind of things are going great, it'll be easy for people to say, well, it's easy for you.
Exactly.
But they don't know when I was pulling up to do an install in my Mustang.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that I think if people were more educated on what to expect going into this,
Right.
they might be better prepared to start businesses. And I think, you touched on earlier, I started this when I was 48. That's a little late to start something new, but it's possible. And
Right.
and what I want to do is talk to women about the opportunities that they have out there to start businesses, no matter the age.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
As long as you got the discipline, you got the drive,
And the passion
to serve, that's a big deal. So what would be something if you wanted to talk to employees in general, what are the biggest mistakes you see from employees?
I think for employees, it's finding the right fit for what you're doing. You can do any job. There are employees out there who can do a job.
Right.
Whether they're the right fit to do that job is the question. And, sometimes you see employees that want to work hard, but they don't have some aspect of what you're looking for. And I think it's really giving time to yourself to think about what you really want to do.
Right.
Because if you get to do what you want to do, sky's the limit.
Right.
You could really enjoy what you do. And I don't have that history. I've never really enjoyed careers I've had in the past. And
Right.
this is the first time I've really been able to see our team members, the rewarding feeling that they have when we're done at the end of the night, when we're hugging our clients and the kids are squeal revealing. That's when we reveal the rooms to the children. Our team is tired. It's a long day.
But it's rewarding for them.
It's so rewarding for them.
And that's a great point because, for me personally, you could put me in an administrative type of role. I'm a hard worker. I'm just not good at that. It's not something I enjoy. I can't wait to leave.
Yep.
So if you're in a job that you can't wait to stop doing something at the end of the day,
You're in the wrong job.
there's nothing wrong with saying, you know what, I'm just not in a great position. And you might be making great money. I wouldn't take a government job, for example, an administrative government job. You couldn't pay me $1 million a year,
To sit
which
behind
is
a
a lot
desk.
more than I make now. To do something where I have to be somewhere 9 to 5, doing something I don't enjoy doing. Like if you're going to the bathroom for 15 minutes because you can't stand doing what you're doing, you're just sitting
doing
in there.
the wrong thing.
Like you're doing the wrong thing. Like I couldn't wait to have a podcast today. I had coffee with our friend Carlo this morning. Just talking about business, and I'm all charged up right now. Anytime you spend time with like-minded people that are crushing goals and going after it. So at the end of the day, I think that's great advice, is have the self-awareness to say, I don't love what I'm doing, and then have the discipline.
chance.
Have the discipline to say, maybe I'm going to make less money somewhere else
For
doing
a time
something
being.
for the time being.
Yeah.
But I'm going to enjoy the journey more. Working 40, 50 hours a week, it's too much time of your life to despise what you're doing.
Absolutely. I mean, my weeks are 80 plus, easy, but I'm doing something that I love.
Right.
And that's the thing. And again, our team, they are tired, they're exhausted, but they're doing something that they really feel like at the end of the day, they've done something good.
Sure.
And they feel good about that.
Yeah.
And I love to see that.
Totally. I think that's a great tip. Other than that, we can start maybe looking into talking about your 5 things here. And, moving is something that I don't know that I know anybody that enjoys moving.
Nobody.
And so,
Nobody enjoys moving.
so part of what I think you bring to the equation is taking a negative, making it into a positive.
A celebration.
And creating an experience.
Yeah.
Versus the horrific, scenario that is moving for most people. So let's go ahead and jump into the 5 things real quick, if you don't mind.
Sure.
What's number one thing that you would talk about need and see?
Well, so the one thing is, not only looking at the stress that we reduce, but also informing clients of different things that they need to be responsible for and aware of, like moving companies. That's one thing that we see time and time again, that our clients experience some very negative, moving company, experiences. And
Tactics.
That's, yeah. And, the idea that you have to do your due diligence, you have to look at, you get what you pay for. And I think that's one thing that I, talk to clients. We have movers that we've vetted very carefully, that take care of our clients, and we know they're going to take care of them. But there are others out there, van services and various other movers, that don't quite have that same level of professionalism. So it's important really to understand, you might think you're getting a good deal, but it's going to cost you in the long run. And I think that's one thing that really getting our clients to understand, they're taking care of everything that you've accumulated over your lifetime. Every personal, picture, everything that is important to you. And when things get destroyed, we had a client, for instance, they went with a less expensive mover, and they moved from Florida up here. When we were unpacking the family, we discovered her wedding dress, a $12,000 wedding dress wrapped around speakers and used to pad the speakers in a box.
Yeah.
And various things were smashed and destroyed and actually stolen. So just really being aware of who you're hiring and getting those referrals and personal referrals.
Yeah, and there's a big difference between price and value.
Exactly.
And we tell people all this in the time of the security industry. The internet is riddled and littered with complaints, but a lot of it has to do with consumers not doing due diligence,
Right.
not making an intelligent decision about something that's important, like a move.
Absolutely. And if it seems too good to be true, it normally is.
Sure.
If they quote them a price, we've had many clients that say, the movers have quoted them a price, but then when they get to the location and they're ready to open up the truck, they expect $3,000 more
Right.
before they open the truck.
Right.
So they're not getting...
And there's a lot of games like that go on in the moving
absolutely.
industry. Yeah.
And there's very little that can be done other than, you file a complaint,
Right.
you make a post, but that company will just open up under a new name
Right.
2 days later.
Right.
So it's really about, making sure you're comfortable with your decision and investing in that. It's an
Right.
investment.
So again, I drive home the point with insurance. There's overhead that's associated with that business, that they're doing business right. And a shade tree mechanic, of course, can do it cheaper. But if he screws it up, you have no recourse as a consumer.
Absolutely. And
Well,
you're going to spend more to
You can't even
fix.
file a complaint. He's
Right.
not a real business.
Right.
You can go after Jethro because he blew up your engine because he did it wrong. But at the end of the day, you're just going to, all the aggravation and frustration, if you could get him to pay.
Exactly.
At some point, after all your aggravation, you probably spent 10 times the aggravation rather than just take it down to a professional and have the job done right.
Have it done right the first time.
Yeah.
And that's what we do with our clients. That's another thing that, in talking about the value of what we offer our clients, it really is about saving your time. The average move-in for a family is 183 days to move in. That's average. That means that there are some that'll do it in a weekend, and there are some that will take over a year to do.
Right.
We have clients that 2 years later, they're still in boxes. So what we do is we add that value so that they can spend time with their families. They can go and, golf and do, whatever they need to do with their kids.
It's a better quality of life.
It's a better quality of life. And it sets them up for success. Again, what we do is not just that one day move in, it's everything after that move. It's all the time that they save in every aspect of their life.
The aggravation,
The
the frustration of looking
the
for
taking
stuff.
away boxes. When you
Right.
think about the hundreds of boxes for a
Right.
typical move, we have a 16-foot truck. We take away all the boxes. We take away all the donation. We set up and have a handyman on site to install TVs, hang pictures. We have a chef that comes in that night to make a gourmet meal for your family and friends. We've actually had clients that have had dinner parties the night of a move. And actually, as we're packing up the truck, their guests arrive for a dinner party.
Wow,
So
that's awesome.
it's
And
pretty-
everything's just boom. It's
everything
in
is
there.
done.
Right.
And it's not just done, it's done right. You know, I talked earlier, I think to you, Brian, about the procurement that we offer our clients. We have a style guide that we send out to our clients, and our client experience manager works with them to purchase the products. It's everything from bins, baskets, to hangers, and, you know, everything for every drawer and space in their home, so that they're more organized than they've ever been. And that just reduces stress.
That's awesome.
And that's what we do.
Yeah. So it's not just a move, it's an experience.
It's an experience.
Yeah.
And that's what, you know, it's the value. It's not, I mentioned earlier, it's not a purchase, it's an investment. You're investing in your future. You're investing in, you know, your kids getting settled on day one. You're investing in, you know, the time that you get to spend with your family. You can't get back time.
Right. Time is the ultimate asset.
Time is
It really
the ultimate
is, yeah.
asset. And so we help our clients, you know, and it's also the stress. You know, we talked about again that this is one of the most stressful things that families go through, aside from losing a loved one.
Right.
Moving. And depends on, you know, the reason for moving. We take care of estate pack-ups for folks when they've lost a loved one. That is the most stressful time for a family member.
I can imagine.
Yeah. It's a difficult time emotionally.
When you see stuff, it makes you emotional.
Absolutely.
It triggers things. Yeah.
Everything they touch is a memory.
Yeah.
And so we take care of that. And what we do with our moves for our estate backups is we have an inventory list. So we take photographs of everything and we inventory everything. We had a client recently that had several family members that were looking for specific things. And he was able to, within 6 minutes, locate those items and identify the box number that they were in and find those items for his family. And he said afterward, you know, how that reduced his stress and really, you know, made it possible for him to breathe during a most difficult time when he lost his mother.
Little things like my browser updated on my computer and my password wasn't saved, or this was on my phone or something the other day, and it's like I got to scrounge for 10 minutes trying to find this password, and I've got a long list of passwords, and I couldn't find it on there because I didn't update. I didn't write it down when I
Aggravation.
And it's aggravation.
Yep.
You got to reset it, and
Yep.
it's not a big deal, but 10, 15 minutes later, you
You're
know, you
still
just
looking for
wasted all that time. So moving is that times a lot.
Oh, that time's a lot.
Right.
Yes.
So
it is a lot of hours. We average about 180 hours that our team is on site total for, you know, for our team, depending on, again, the size of the team. But we've had clients where we're there for over 200 hours, man hours,
Jeez.
to get them settled in.
Yeah.
And so when you look at how long that's going to take you to do, you look at how many hours a day you would have to move, how many boxes you can get through.
Right.
And again, it's not just the boxes to get through, it's taking the boxes away.
Right.
It's going through the donation that you decided you don't want in this new home. It's all of the things that we take away that help our clients really just enjoy and celebrate where they are.
So that was number one. Do we have a formal number two?
So the formal number two is the culture. You know,
Okay.
we talk about starting a business, creating a culture. One thing I wanted to make sure that I did when I started this business was create a culture where our team members feel safe and they feel respected and listened to. Taking care of your team members, you know, it seems intuitive, but there are so many business owners out there that don't.
It's true.
And they don't consider, you know, the time that their members are working, and they don't consider, you know, the stressors that they're under. So what we do at Need NC is we allow our team to have that flexibility. It's a project-based job, so they can pick and choose what works for them. Of course, we want them signed up for as many jobs as we can get them on. But the point is to have that work-life balance. And, you know, we provide the uniform for our team. We provide lunches. We have fabulous lunches on site.
You're going to hire Raphael away from me with the lunches.
Yeah, it's some good stuff. And little things, you know, it's funny that I used to, when I first started the business, I used to have healthy snacks with almonds and, you know, things that I thought team members would want during the day. No, it's peanut M&Ms. It's peanut M&Ms and Twizzlers and, you know, fish and all of that. But it's the little things that we do that take care of our team. We listen to them when they have recommendations, and just really understand that without them, Need NC doesn't exist.
Yeah. Well, I've always said this, or I have for a long time, my employees are my number one customer.
Absolutely.
And so I got to do my best to keep them happy. We've fired customers before and things like that because you're not the priority over an employee. If you're being rude and you're being out of line, that's just unacceptable. But the other side of that is trying to create that best balance that you can, which again is not easy.
It's not easy.
You're that conductor,
But it's got, it's got more to do with soft skills too of employees. When you create a culture, you look at almost anything is trainable. You can show them different ways. In our industry, I can show them 100 different ways to fold shirts and pants and, set the kitchens up and all of that. But fundamentally, they have to have the right fit in their personalities.
Mindset.
And be willing. Yeah. It's about, for us, going into our client's home, we see everything. We touch everything. And so it's a relationship building career. And it's a relationship building industry because it's based on trust. And when we've got team members who are compassionate and they're patient with our clients and they're understanding and they go above and beyond because of that. So that's another, key point is when you're hiring for small businesses, look at those soft skills.
I'd be curious. You just got me thinking about something. So one of the things that I'm real big on the 5 love languages, right? And one of the reasons why I believe I've done well in a service business is my secondary love language. My second most important is acts of service. So it comes very natural for me to want to serve others, whether it was being in the military or being in a service business. You got me actually wondering, would it be good to test people on their love language early on?
That's not a bad idea.
So one of the things I've done over the years is I try to learn. For example, one employee that I've had before, a gift would have been something that he really liked. Because, you kind of pay
Something
attention
tangible.
over the years. Something tangible.
Yep.
That's going to hit him differently than a different employee. He just wants to not work and spend time with his wife.
Yep.
So you got to really learn people different,
Yes.
where someone else might want a bonus.
Yes.
So there's an X amount but you want to hit every employee differently. But I almost wonder if your business may be testing for someone that grades very high in acts of service love language. That almost would be probably a better candidate as an employee because
That's a great idea.
they're built to serve.
Yeah.
So
because
I don't know.
it's so important to have the right fit. Because one thing that we hear from our clients over and over again is it's a joy for them to be around our team. And that, I take great pride in that.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And if you follow us on Instagram, you see we have a lot of video that might be showing on this podcast as well. But you see the team smiling and enjoying themselves. And again, it's hard work. I'm not going to pretend that it's not.
Of course, yeah.
There's some days I go home and my back hurts so bad I can barely move.
Sure.
But it's the idea that they're doing something good and they know it and they feel it and they see the difference that's going to make in that family's lives. Everybody has their own person that they kind of target. They want to do it for their mom because they love to see a mom's, reduce stress.
Sure.
Mine is the children. When I see children settled, because I moved every 2 years as a kid, and it was stressful. It was very stressful on me. My dad was a professor, and we just popped around to different universities, and
Oh, geez.
and it was basically every 2 years.
Okay.
And we'd settle in, and as soon as I got settled, that was when we would move. So
Interesting.
it was stressful to start new schools, to have to kind of recreate yourself. And being able to get the children settled is my passion.
Well, that's awesome. And we've never spoke about this, but I actually had 5 schools in 6 years.
So
And so it's very interesting. So we can maybe talk about that another time because
Sure.
I was naturally introverted, and I believe that negative situation helped me develop a
Yes.
skill of becoming more extroverted when I needed to
You
be.
had to hit the ground running.
Right.
You literally, and the one thing I found, we can, like I said, talk more about this later.
Right.
One thing I found is each move, I could change something about myself that I didn't necessarily like in the last one. So I could be more extroverted, be more, compassionate, be more empathetic. I think that teaches kids resiliency.
Yeah. So that's good stuff. And going right into number 3, which is pivot.
Pivoting your business, I think that's key. One thing that I learned early on is that you can't be stuck in the idea that you originally had. Originally, I was just a professional organizer. It's not a just. It was a great opportunity for me. But being able to pivot and look at the needs of the clients and fulfill those needs, and be able to look at what our business does to our team members, pivot and make sure we're adjusting, to accommodate our team members as well as our clients.
Well, and you're evolving as a company.
We are,
And you're
absolutely.
evolving as a manager. And
Oh,
you're
I am
involving
definitely
your
that.
employees. And involving, we're redoing our standard operating procedures. We're reviewing a lot of
Absolutely.
those recently. So the goal is to create a better experience every week or every move.
And I think on that, it's really to looking at documenting everything. Everything has to be documented.
Mm-hmm.
And so putting our training manual together, and it's constantly evolving there,
Mm-hmm.
as well as, we want to satellite in different locations.
Yeah.
So getting ready for that and making
Right.
sure we have.
Charlotte sounds like it's coming up soon.
Charlotte
Yeah.
should be coming up this year.
That's awesome. Great area.
I want to target that. Number one, because that's where my first client
Mm-hmm.
lived. And I think that there's meaning to that. But also, I think it's just one of those areas that's growing so rapidly, as well as the triangle. So it'd be
Mm-hmm. Sure.
a great chance for us to satellite there.
One part of that evolve is CYA, cover your ass as a
Oh,
business owner. So like, for example,
Yes.
I know this from us talking before is like, an employee runs into something where there's a weapon there. Like that's an immediate stop, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So you got a CYA. We got to talk about those kind of things on the front end with the customer. Whereas day one, you're maybe not proactively thinking about those type of things.
You don't even think about those types
Right.
of things. You wouldn't even think that would be
Right.
an issue. But it's amazing what we've come across
Mm-hmm.
over the years that we've been, building this, different situations that you're absolutely right.
Right.
It is covering yourself.
So it's now like,
Protecting
I got to
yourself.
make sure we talk about that in every presentation.
Yes.
Like, get your weapons out of the house.
Yes.
We're not moving those. So I think we can basically learn that things happen as a business owner that a lot of times you just shake your head like, what in the world are these people thinking?
Absolutely.
And we all have those stories. If you're a business owner and you don't have those stories, you're just not sharing. You're just not being honest about it. And I was we had to switch over our SD cards. But I was telling Terry about a circumstance. One time I had a smoker technician that went outside and he's smoking a cigarette and he flicks the butt into these customers' house or into their yard, which was a beautiful yard. And of course I hear about it. I actually sold that job personally. And so I go out there and I'm just shaking my head like, I'm so sorry. I have no idea what this guy was thinking. I ended up firing him. But at the end of the day, it's like, as a business owner, you're accountable for all these bad decisions or
are.
all these things. Like, what are you thinking? And it's like, a lot of times they think I'm being a jerk.
Well, you think it's common sense, but a lot of times
Right.
you have to spell out. It goes as far as us talking through our, we have a policy, all sorts of policy documentation, because again, we're such a personal service. We
Sure.
offer such a personal thing. We have to make sure it's the right fit. So we talk about the language that team members can use while on site.
Mm-hmm.
It can't be negative. We can't call, our clients things junk. We
Mm.
can't say trash. We can't say things that have a negative connotation, because that's just, it's insulting to clients.
Sure.
So we want to make sure that, our team understands, and like you, everywhere there's a camera.
Right.
You are the camera guru, so
I've heard about that. I've heard about cameras.
Yes, cameras are everywhere in clients' homes. So we always have to be respectful
Right.
and understand that these clients are letting us into their homes and their lives, and it's a privilege.
Personal space, yeah.
It's a privilege.
So, and again, that's as a business owner, early on, you're not thinking about friendly words.
Yes.
It's an evolving animal.
But then when it
as a
happens
business.
where there's an unfriendly word and you have to
Yeah.
put it in,
Totally.
it really is about looking at, the changes that you've got to make and be willing
Mm-hmm.
to make those changes. You and I talk about lessons learned. It's one thing to document a lessons learned,
Mm-hmm.
have a meeting afterward, and all of my leadership team gets together after a project and we talk about
Mm-hmm.
the good, bad, and the ugly. What happened? What went right? What went wrong? But it's really taking it the next step and saying, how can we make those changes that are going to improve and give that premier client care that we give our clients?
Right.
And take care of our team.
Completely. Winding down to the last couple things here. Number 4 is kind of the difference between you and a typical movers, because you're not, when they're looking at your service versus a movers, they're not comparing apples to apples. It's a totally different thing.
It's totally different.
So
Absolutely.
just a few of the high points between you
Sure.
and the...
So with a typical mover, it's going to be a team of 2 to 4 people that come in, and their job is to get those items into a box. They're not worried about, organizing it. They're not worried about making sure that donation is taken out. We come in with a higher ratio than that. We come in with a larger team, and that allows us to really go through your things with you or without you, depending. We always tell our clients they can be as involved as they want to be. They can be standing right next to us, or they can be off at the spa or doing whatever they want to do. But what we're allowed and what we're enabled to do is to organize things going in. We've had people move out of our network, out of our state, that have never been more organized. We have, we shrink wrap things that are together. We can have things put in baskets and shrink wrapped. So when you get to your location, you literally pull it out. It's labeled. Everything is ready for you just to move in. And we take, care in how we wrap things.
So it's not just the moving, it's you're organizing things on the front end.
Organizing on the front end makes it so much
Labeling
easier.
things, organizing things.
Absolutely. We have what's called a Blue Diamond. So our Blue Diamond service is to do the pack up as well as the unpack. So that's for our clients who are within our area, in North Carolina, within 2 miles or rather 2 hours of Raleigh, Durham. So that's kind of our area that we service. We used to go out of state, but that was a 24-hour day for our team.
That's
so
tough,
we opted not to do that.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
But when we satellite, we'll move into that.
But you can pack it up.
Absolutely.
And then long term, I believe your thinking is maybe you have like a franchise concept or something long term to where
Satellite office, yep.
Satellite office,
Yep.
you can have a neat team pack you up and a neat team unload you in a
Yep.
different area. I mean, that's a cool process, and I don't believe there's anything else out there like that.
No, I don't think there is. We have seen some of our competitors that are coming out with similar ideas.
Well, that's
which
always
is
to be
gonna
expected.
Yep,
Yeah.
Absolutely. Imitation is the best form of flattery, they
Well,
say.
it's at the end of the day, it's like having a security company. There's 800 licensed security companies in North Carolina, but
what sets you apart?
what service and expertise are you bringing
Yep.
to the table?
And that's what's so amazing about what you do, Brian, with your clients, is that extra step, all of the steps that you take to provide that care for your clients. I know you told me once that you take calls that, you used to, I think, take calls.
I used to. I
late
just,
at night.
to touch on that, it's like I've really had to work hard the last 12 to 15, 18 months, somewhere in that range. I need more quality of life. I'm 48. I've been doing this 25 years. I've had the same cell phone number for about 20 years. And, I get text messages, emails, phone calls 7 days a week, 20 hours a day. And that's not sustainable. And
Right.
that's something I've had to work on. And this is part of Raphael's working with me on a video on this, where we created a video setting the expectation better.
Setting the
And so a lot of
expectations.
times it's a matter of, well, they're calling me because, one of the things they love is having that local company, having that expert, having someone who's accountable, someone who cares, someone who is going to shoot you straight.
Yep.
But it doesn't mean I'm available 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. I go on
There
vacation.
have to be boundaries.
There's got to be boundaries.
Absolutely.
So, and I believe most people are pretty reasonable to respect those boundaries, provided we set the expectation.
Yeah.
So that's where I've had to work on improving our communication and setting the expectation that, hey, I am available to you, to any of our customers.
Within a reasonable time frame.
Well, I'm available. It doesn't mean I'm available 24/7.
Right.
It's like, I care. I will get involved in something if need be. If you call operations and you're not happy, I do want to hear about it. It doesn't mean I want to hear about it at 10 o'clock on a
at
Sunday night. So that being said, it's as we evolve and grow and
Right.
change processes, and it's not. I have to do a
Sustainable.
better job of setting the expectation on the front end, and that's what we're in the process of doing.
And I think we're doing that as well. I'm so fortunate to have the best director of operations, Bill Irwin, working with me. And he takes calls from clients at 6 o'clock in the morning because they're stressed. It's
Yeah.
a stressful time for them. And they're dealing with so many different, aspects of their move, whether it's, we worked with a client that we moved down to Wilmington. Her husband was going through the next stages of dementia. And so getting him set up and recreating his space
Sure.
has really alleviated the stress for her, but she still has things that she wants
Sure.
to talk about. And so we're kind of that sounding board for our clients a lot of times. And it's a joy to be, and to be there and help them, through that process. But you're absolutely right. Setting expectations is key.
Long story short is, having that Bill taking that call, or me for a long time taking those calls at any time, and having that willingness to do it, but you do burn out.
You do.
And we're moving away. We've changed a bunch of things in the last 6 months to where I'm not necessarily dealing with customers as much, because to be real honest with you, I'm a lot less tolerant of things now. And it's not really, I may not be the best person for you to talk to initially, because my tolerance level is growing. Customers will say, well, we're moving. Why would I have to
give them to us and we'll take care of them?
Well, why would I have to fulfill this contract? I'm like,
because you have a contract.
Why would you not have to fulfill a contract?
It's the same for me. I'm stepping away. I used to be on site for the jobs. Now I have a project manager. I have a site manager. We have team leads in place.
Right.
Bill is always on site. So it allows me to focus more on building the business. Mm-hmm. So I'm working on it rather than in it. And, being able to be here for a podcast, that type of thing is really where I need to focus, because it's getting the word out of what we do. And that's my pleasure and my joy.
And we evolved into several different line of points there rather than your number 4. So I apologize for that. But it's it's challenging, because at every level, when I think about, Ken Gill, the CEO of CPI, he's not taking a phone call from a client at all.
Right.
And so, I'm not there, I'm available, but at some point, maybe you get to that point where you only got so much time in a day.
It goes back to the expectations, setting them with your clients and setting them with your team.
Sure. Absolutely. So moving into number 5, and this is my favorite, because I think of your business like this, and you said something, and I don't want to take it out of context. You said when you go on vacation, you invest in an experience, and you're not just moving stuff. You're not just paying for a move with your company.
That experience.
You're investing in an experience with your company. So it's something that not only the actual move is a wonderful experience versus a nightmare, but it's something that saves you money well down the line, saves you time down the line. So I'd love to hear more about that. So,
well, it really is an experience. Yeah. It's, people ask us all the time, what is your typical client like? They must be wealthy. They must be this. They must have, a 10,000 square foot home. Mm-hmm. It's not. It really is those that see our value. Mm-hmm. We have, single people that have used us. We have large families. We have clients with 9 kids. We have, clients that have 2,000 square foot homes versus a 12,000 square foot home. It really is the people that see our value are the ones that invest in that experience and understand. They might not be able to, we've had a client actually go back and ask her husband for every Christmas present going forward, I want this. I want Need NC to come in and move me so I can live my life and we can, spend family time together. It is an investment, and it is an investment in the experience, like you said, like with a trip, with a holiday. Yeah.
So when you go to Cabo and you drop $5,000, you're investing that money into having a good time and having an experience. You don't get anything other than the experience.
There's no product at the end of that.
Right.
You have pictures, you have memories, and memories are so important.
Sure.
But when you invest in Need NC, you invest in our team coming out and doing what we do, it just keeps on giving back. It really is a product. It's a finished product at the end.
Sure.
When we walk out the door and your closets are completely organized with switched out, streamlined hangers, and your pantry is set up for you to make, breakfast the next morning, that's part of the experience.
Right.
And you can sit with your family and have that first meal together. I love it when we have the chef come in.
Yeah,
we have an amazing chef.
Awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So it's part of the experience.
So it's a big deal. Make sure you're comparing apples to apples, which there's only one apple called Neat NC. Everything else is oranges. So, well, that's really good to hear about, and I appreciate you coming in today and sharing your wisdom from the experience and sharing your story. And obviously, if you value your time and you're thinking about a move, reach out to Need NC. And
absolutely. It's on our website at www.neednc.com.
Okay, yeah. And they can follow you on Instagram.
Instagram is neat.nc.
Okay.
So, and we're also recruiting actively.
Okay.
So we're looking for team members to join our amazing team. We are, I don't know if I mentioned this, but we're also up for a TV series.
Okay.
So that was something too that was exciting. We're still going through the process.
Well, awesome. Well, if that comes to fruition, maybe we have a second podcast and come talk about it. Yeah,
I'd
that'd be
love it.
awesome.
Thanks so much for having me.
Well, thanks for coming out today, and thanks for joining us for another 5 Things podcast. See you next time. Hello, this is Brian Smith, and thank you for watching. Please subscribe for more valuable content.